people of all races, of all cultures, to be equipped to better society.
And so one of the places that you have expanded on that as it relates to education and leadership for sure is your work at UNT Dallas. And I know you just became full-time faculty this last semester. And so can you talk about how you're able to share this knowledge and experience in your classes?
Well, one, I want to thank UNT, President Bob Mung, and Dean of the School of Business, Karen Shumway, for giving me a chance. Several years ago, I was bugging them pretty much. President Mung was a new president. I lived 6 minutes away from the institution. And I sent him an email on his personal email account. He didn't even have a UNT Dallas email address yet, asking for a meeting so that we can discuss how the community can be engaged with the university. And we had a discussion. I'm at a restaurant in Oak Cliff, and he asked me questions on how I can contribute to UNT Dallas, which was shocking to me because I had my list of 10 items to demand what UNT should do for us. But he is such a transformational leader to say, well, how can you be a part of the solution? And he introduced me to Dean Shumway, and they afforded me an opportunity to be an adjunct professor to teach entrepreneurship. I've been in the education space in grade school, tutoring elementary, middle, and high school students through Group Excellence, which is another company that was started in 2004 by students at SMU, Pony Up. But at MLH Enterprises, I was also creating leadership modules for middle schools and high schools and other professional organizations. And so I was able to take that to higher ed while being an adjunct professor. And I started with teaching one class of entrepreneurship. I loved it. Dean Shumway said, well, why don't you teach a second class? Because there's a demand for people to not only build businesses but focus on social impact, particularly in southern Dallas. And so that was my task, and that's what I aim my curriculum for the students. It's an undergraduate course, so it's much more broad than a graduate level course, which most colleges or businesses or MBA programs really go in depth in entrepreneurial ventures and entrepreneurial information. I want to create the information to motivate and inspire students to say, you know what, I can not only build businesses, but I can benefit my family and society as well. So that evolution the last 3 or 4 years have been great, and I appreciate the support of UNT Dallas.
I heard you drop Pony Up in there. You were flowing so good that I didn't say anything about it. But, I mean, that's part of with Ryan not being here at this moment. It's
right.
Like that y'all are always present with that Pony Up stuff.
Well, Ryan Trimble actually was a significant imprint in my college career because my freshman year, it was 2002, and it was this group of 11 people called the Mustang 11. And they were the spirited group that everyone knew on campus.
And Ryan was part of that, of course. Yeah,
Ryan was a part of that, and I was that throughout that year. I was an initiate, so I was in the next class of Mustang 11. So we share a common bond in our spirit and our zeal for SMU. And
that is our obligated portion of the SMU conversation, so we can move on from that. We have Matt Houston with us, serial entrepreneur, interim president of the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce. Before I talk a little bit about that, one thing I always mention to people, and I've been saying this since I started my blog in 2006, and I continue to say it today, any challenges, even any problems, any opportunities people associate with our city, to me, is because at one point, we were the largest city in the world and didn't have a public institution of higher education in our city until UNT Dallas became that college, that university for us. And so since you've been out on the campus, what are the opportunities you see? What have you seen as the campus has continued to grow, as President Mung has continued to add to what the university is offering?
Well, outside of the obvious, building buildings and generating opportunities for students to create services and things of that nature on the campus, there's been an explosion of diversity of students. We have over 3,000 students enrolled in this institution in various disciplines. And with that comes different passions. And UNT Dallas is very unique in addressing something that the community, particularly Oak Cliff or Southern Dallas County, needs. One of them is the food desert situation, where UNT Dallas is partnering with Toyota, several other community organizations to provide a mobile fresh market.
DART is also
a part. Thank you, DART, for donating the bus, the transportation for that. And so the School of Business has students who are not only writing a business plan, but also are implementing these services and partnering with the School of Social Service at UNT Dallas to make sure and ensure the neighbors in the neighborhoods are going to be serviced holistically. And so those are the type of innovative programs that excites me as a resident of Dallas.
Yeah, and the students, you and I both serve on the advisory board for the mobile market, and the students gave a presentation to the advisory board recently about the marketing, about the drop-offs, about the locations, about how the food will be stored. And that's another thing that it inspires me about UNT Dallas is the students. You
and
see
the collaboration also, right?
You see great leadership, great collaboration.
And that's in the fabric of the institution. People don't realize, but UNT, when it was still a part of the program in Denton, the first location was on Hampton Road about 10, 12 years ago. And they always focused on experiential learning. There's always been a service-based component to the curriculum. And so when the new buildings were constructed in the late 2000s, and then in 2013, 2014, where we received our own accreditation, we continued that motto and that mission to have experiential learning, to have service-based businesses, service-based service products, so that we can enhance the education levels in this portion of Dallas, which has been grossly underutilized, underdeveloped, and ignored for decades here in the city. And so once this is addressed, we are raising the tides for all of Dallas.
Well, we are going to come back, Matt, and I want to talk a little bit more about the economic development of Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce, but we are going to take a quick break. This is Shawn Williams, Deconstructing Dallas. We'll be right back.
over 111, and I had a stroke.
145 over 92, and then I had a heart attack.
150 over 90, and I had a stroke.
This is what high blood pressure sounds like. You might not feel its symptoms, but the results from a heart attack or stroke are far from silent. Get back on your treatment plan or talk with your doctor to create a plan that works for you. Go to loweryourhbp.org.
Everything's changed.
Brought to you by the American Heart Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Back, Deconstructing Dallas. Shawn Williams, Ryan Trimble, here with principal of MLH Enterprises, Matt Houston. Matt, I want to talk a little bit about your second turn as the interim president of the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce. And, we had Ken Malcolmson on recently.
Great guy.
Yeah, another SMU guy.
Yeah.
Ken Malcolmson on recently. And we just talked about the different chambers around town, but I wanted to, just get your thoughts and take on the Dallas Black Chamber, and for any of our listeners who are not familiar, a little bit about that organization.
Thank you. So first, I would be remiss if I don't thank the board of directors at the Black Chamber of Commerce, the oldest black chamber in the country. We were founded in 1926 by a man that both of us are familiar with, Mr. A. Maceo Smith,
right?
Former national president of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. But he was also an entrepreneur in the early 20th century out of Texarkana, Texas, but went to Dallas, created businesses, and created a political infrastructure not only in Dallas but also in Houston and at the state capitol in Austin to ensure African American businesses thrive in Texas. He saw that Texas is focused on business, and he wanted to create organizations with that. The Dallas Black Chamber was the first one that he created in partnership with the clergy in Dallas to provide a leadership pipeline for people who are not necessarily in the religious space but want to discuss things in the marketplace here in the city. And so the Dallas Negro Chamber of Commerce, now the Dallas Black Chamber of Commerce, serves that purpose as an advocate for small businesses that support the African American community. You do not have to be black to be a member or an advocate of the Dallas Black Chamber, but we want to ensure not only our individual members but our partners and our corporate partners as well have some sort of stake in the positive growth of the African American economic ecosystem.
And what are some of the items right now that the Black Chamber is focused on? Where are you guys looking to go? So
there are two main things. Is one, development of our business members, and two, investing in our future. One, in our business development department or committee, we provide events, the Executive Business Summit, which is held in August of each year, to where we have thought leaders of economics across the country come and have a day-long workshop style for our members here in Dallas. We also have the State of Black Business in Dallas, State of Business in Dallas County. But we also team up with our state organization, TAC, which is the Texas Association of African American Chambers of Commerce. Charles O'Neill, president, former president of the Dallas Black Chamber, and a strong advocate for black business growth across the country. He's also chair of the U.S. Black Chambers, Inc., which is our national advocacy organization. And so we provide programs through TAC as well as our local programs here in Dallas. We're actually creating a power breakfast every third Tuesday morning. It's coming up soon. You'll see it on our website very soon.
I like breakfast.
Breakfast is good. 7:30 to 9 a.m.
Turkey sausage. Could I make a request?
Yes, because I don't. Swine is not a friend of mine.
So I don't dine on the swine.
Okay, so, there you go.
Yeah, we could just maybe put some turkey sausage in the rotation.
Understandable.
Which is always a big play at our breakfast, right? We always have the turkey sausage every time we get together for breakfast. So
it's kindred experiences. So the Black Chamber is just an amazing organization that I actually grew up in. My father was executive director. I was literally born into the chamber. There was actually a board meeting when on my father's birthday, February 2nd, my mom was going into labor with me at 7:30 p.m. And my dad left the chamber and went to the hospital, and I was born on the same day as not only his board meeting but also his birthday.
I think that's a long history.
That's a long history from diapers.
From the jump.
I am aligned and with the mission, and I love to exert energy and passion for this organization.
We've got Matt Houston, who, if you heard us on the first segment with Matt, is also a lecturer of business management at the UNT School of Business. But I want to talk about economic development, which there is definitely a discussion that you can have around that, with specifically related to UNT Dallas. But you did mention, and this is no secret, and having been part of Mayor Rollins' Grow South project, there's no shortage on energy and discussion and thoughts around economic development in Southern Dallas. But as far as us really moving the needle, we're still trying to get there, Matt. So can you talk a little bit about what you see specifically related to Southern Dallas economic development, and also even talk about some of the efforts that you're a part of to try to help do something about it?
Well, in the last 10 years, I have seen